Hi everyone, it's Suzanne or Susie from Two Hags Chinwag, and I wanted to do a quick follow-up on something that we touched on in our last podcast, which is one of our mandates to support women and provide information as we age and as we make our way through this crazy, wacky world that we live in. So I just wanted to just tell you my experience because I'm not a health professional. I don't have any degrees or certificates. I have just been through a really long journey to health, and being 60 years old, I feel better and I look better today than I have in a long, long time. And it's still a struggle. Believe me, it's ongoing. So some of the things that have helped me is finding a good naturopath. So I have chronic IBS, I have vertigo, and I suffer from migraines and headaches, and just general aches and pains. So, and something I've noticed lately as well is a little bit of a lack of energy. So I'm working on that as well. So finding a good naturopath was key for me. Someone who listened to me, who had a foot in the medical world as well as the holistic world. Because for me, there's a balance between science and ancient wisdom. And the lady that I go to see, she really knows how to walk in those worlds. So I really, really appreciate that. So she took a look at all of my medical tests, and I've had every scope and scan and x-ray possible to do with my digestive health. And I've seen a neurologist about my migraines and my dizziness and the whole thing. So believe me, I have done the medical tests. I don't just dismiss that role because I think it's very, very important. So she looked at all my blood work and all my scans, and she developed a protocol based on herbal supplements. So another thing about me is my body does not like pharmaceuticals. I don't react well to them. So finding you know, more in line with nature really helps me. So, eating clean and using herbal supplements. The other person who has helped me is my girlfriend who owns an apothecary in Truro. She's a medical herbalist, and she's very, very smart and knows a lot about what we can use that we find locally, teas and tinctures, and she can make those. And she also has a year-long herbal study class where you learn to make those medicines yourself, which I'm taking right now, and I'm super enjoying and meeting just fabulous people. So it's really, finding what works best for you. Some people need pharmaceuticals, and that's fine. But again, for me, it's not really my path. So I had to find more plant-based and gentler things. It's just how it is for me. So it took me a long time again to find what works for me. So naturopath and medical herbalist have definitely helped me. And then doing a lot of research because we're very lucky to live in an age where information is at our fingertips. When I first was diagnosed in my 20s with IBS, there wasn't a lot of information about it, and there certainly wasn't the World Wide Web to surf through, and the wonderful world of YouTube videos. So there's lots of great doctors and great information. But again, you really have to be discerning, and you have to, it's so individualized, you really have to find out what works for you. So it was a lot of trial and error for me. But some of the main things for everyone, and this is universal, not just individualized to me, is inflammation. Inflammation is huge. I mentioned that on our podcast, and it's just so pervasive and invasive, and just so, it just affects all of your organs. And when you're full of inflammation, you don't feel good. And so then we mask it with pills, and some people turn to recreational pharmaceuticals as well. So again, I'm not saying that that's not good. I'm just saying that there's other ways we want to treat the source. So the source is what we're putting in our bodies, and seed oils in particular are so bad, and they're so pervasive. They're in everything. So labels, please read labels and learn what things are. High oleic sunflower oil and a lot of vegetable oils and corn oil, and it's just really, really bad for you. It just creates a lot of inflammation in your body. You know, there was a time that I couldn't even do this with my hand. It was like just in this claw, and I was always bloated and always uncomfortable. And if you saw pictures of me from, 2018, 2019, before I really found what works for me, I was just so bloated and, just, I really don't like looking at pictures of myself from back then. So, keto is a great start. It's hard to maintain, so I just found it was a good jumping off point for me, because then I was able to lose weight right away, and then I sort of modified it as I went along. And then the number one thing for me is intermittent fasting. So I do 16/8, so 16 hours of not eating and 8 hours of eating. And trust me, I was just like, no, there's no way I can fast. Like, I have to eat. Like, I would, have those dips and lows, and I would get brain fog and the whole bit. But what happens when we fast is our body regulates itself. So it took me 3 years to lose my weight. And I think that's a pretty healthy way to go, just steadily losing weight, and finding what works for me, and finding what foods were my triggers. And then the fasting just allowed my body to regulate, so I don't get those dips and ups and downs now. I'm pretty steady, and that really helped me as well to lose the rest of the weight. And then my body went, okay, you're good now. So for the past year, I've been able to maintain that weight loss. I go up and down a couple of pounds, most people do, but for me, really, the inflammation and the bloating is under control. I still get IBS flares. That's just life. Sometimes, it's hard to control what you're eating. I rarely eat out anymore, and when I do, it's just the same places where I know I can get, the things that I have the food sensitivities for. I know that these places have them on the menu, and they're familiar with them. So I did a food sensitivities test with a naturopath, and there was things that I already knew that I was sensitive to, and there was things that I didn't realize and that are in a lot of foods. So, for me, I can't do sesame and sunflower, and those oils are in a lot of things. And the hardest thing for me to give up was my potato chip addiction. I mean, I do like sweet, but, greasy and salty. Oh, oh, that was really, really difficult for me to kick that. And how I did it was I switched from eating regular potato chips to avocado oil potato chips. 3 ingredients: potatoes, salt, avocado oil. And that really took away that greasy habit, right? Like, I was just so used to having greasy, salty potato chips. And that was, your body gets addicted to that. People are addicted to, those sugar substitutes like aspartame and sucralose that you find in diet drinks. Oh, so bad for you. Please, please do your research on that too. So once I was able to just eat the avocado oil potato chips, then I was losing my craving for it. So I just stopped buying them, and now, but trust me, I still think about potato chips. Yeah, I do. But I've broken the habit. So if I don't buy them and they're not in the house, then I'm not eating them. But also, I'm not craving them like I used to. So I'm really super proud of myself for that. So yeah, I mean, just watching my sugar intake, watching my carb intake, making sure I get enough protein. Protein is so important. And gosh, I just can't stress enough the need for being outside and getting some movement. So even if you're just walking, even if you're just outside, breathing and doing a little bit of just mindfulness and a little bit of meditation, it's so important to have that connection to nature and to, the beautiful sun and the sky, and just that expansiveness, and just breathing it all in. So that super helps me as well. And I do get some exercise in. So swimming is great for me because I can't hurt myself. I know a lot of people, yoga is, their go-to. For me, I'm just going to hurt myself doing yoga. I've really done some damage trying to do that. So more power to all the yoga people. Bless you. I'm so happy that you have that. But for me, it's swimming. I can't hurt myself in the water. I'm happy in the water, and I feel connected to nature when I'm in the water. In the summertime, obviously, I can swim outdoors, but during the rest of the time, I go to an indoor pool. And I also walk around a track, which super helps me as well, because then I can get my breathing regulated and I can get a little bit of exercise in, a little bit of cardio. And really, for me, it's about muscle tone as well. So as we age, we start to lose muscle mass. So having something impact like walking really helps. So I encourage you, for whatever fitness level you're at, whatever physical capabilities you can do, please just do something. Just chair yoga, anything, just get some movement, break up that stagnant energy that's in you. And yes, yoga is very good for that too. So don't go by me just because yoga isn't my thing. So the other thing, I guess, is just find your community, find support. It's hard to do things alone. It's hard to be solo in anything. The more we share, the more we reach out, then the more information we get. And I like what your story is. I don't always, think that those articles and books I read, some of the stories sound made up to me. I don't know. It just fits into their whatever they're selling. I would rather hear real people tell me their story. So that's what I'm hoping. What I'm doing today will help you and inspire you just to do some research, read labels, find what works for you. I do encourage seeing a naturopath in conjunction with your medical doctor. And if herbal supplements are something that you're interested in, please find someone local to you that sells them and that has the knowledge, whether that's traditional Chinese medicine or Western um, herbology. Just like I said, do your research, find what works for you, talk to people, meet people, and really create your own community and your own safe space so that you can learn and you can feel comfortable. So I wish you good health. I wish you optimal, enjoyment in life. We're meant to be happy and to find joy. And when you're not feeling well, for me, that leads to depression when I'm not feeling well and a lot of dark thoughts. And just, I got to climb myself out of that pit again. So trust me, like it still happens to me. I still, like I said, I still get IBS flares and I still get migraines and I still get aches and pains. And some days it just don't feel like it. But I push myself, I keep going. So I know that there's hope out there and I know that there's solutions. And it took me a long time to find what works for me. And, I guess, what spurred on my weight loss was my doctor told me, she said, you have fatty liver, you've got high cholesterol. If you don't get those under control, I'm putting you on medication. That was really the impetus for me because, like I said, I don't like pharmaceuticals, all the side effects, what they do to my body. So she asked me to do that, and I was able to do it. So, like I said, it took me a couple of years, and when we redid my blood work, she couldn't believe it. She was so happy for me, and she was almost in tears, and I was almost in tears, and she was just so proud of me for turning all of that around. So, if I would have kept on the path that I was on, she said, you're headed towards being pre-diabetic, you're headed towards heart disease, and then, it's harder to come back. So you want to be able to, whether it's quit smoking or, quit eating junk food or whatever goal you have in mind, it's not overnight. I know Ozempic helps a lot of people. Um, I don't know enough about it. And I don't know that anyone knows enough about it, but if you want to try it, that's up to you, under the care of your doctor. But for me, nothing was going to be overnight and a quick fix. And it did take me a long time, but trust me, it's so worth it. I'm just so grateful. So just a quick thing on intermittent fasting, how that works for me. I don't eat after 4 o'clock. So I get off work at 3. So I come home, I have my supper, and then I fight with myself not to snack all night. It's so, just habit, like watching TV, having a snack, reading a book, having a snack. So I really have to employ all of my willpower. But knowing how I feel, how it makes me feel so much better, and I don't have those dips and ups and downs, and I sleep 7 hours, it really works for me not to eat in the evening. And then I have breakfast, which is always, protein, whether it's eggs or a smoothie with protein powder, and then a really good lunch. I have to make all my own food because if not, I eat out. It's just a roll of the dice whether I'm going to get an IBS flare or not. So I make my own food. I have a really good lunch, and then supper can be something pretty easy. And then herbal tea if I do want to have something in the evenings, just to ingest something besides water. Then I have herbal tea without caffeine. So that's what works for me. I hope that something in there sparks for you and is helpful for you. And like I said, I'm not a professional. I can't give you advice. I just encourage you to reach out on your own and find something that will help you. If you do have a question, I'm happy to answer it for you, or if you want any recommendations, if you're local to me here in Halifax Regional Municipality, I can tell you who my naturopath is, and um, tell you who my girlfriend is in Truro that has the apothecary. So thank you for listening. I know it's a lot of information, and I threw that at you, but and I know I talk fast. So please be well and take care and live your best self. Thank you.